Welcome to Deming Chronicles Season 2, where we bring you the thoughts and opinions of persons whose ideas can make a difference to our country. They may not be part of the mainstream discussion, but certainly they can help us solve some of our wicked problems. We bring today Reval Chattergoon. Welcome, Reval.
Hi, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to your viewers. Thanks for having me.
And he'll be followed by Errol, the independent Fabien. Welcome, Errol.
Just right. It's great to be here, Denise. Hi, Reval, and everybody who's looking and listening. Howdy doody.
Thank you very much. We'll take a break and come back shortly. Deming Chronicles. Deming Chronicles Season 2. And on our stage, in our studio, our guest today, Reval Chattergoon, president of the Arima Business Association. Reval, how has COVID treated you?
COVID have treated us just as anywhere is new. It's horrible, it's frightening, it's scary, and the unknowns make it even worse. We are at a stage where we have some enormous numbers. It continue to rise. For April month is nearly, I believe, 2,800. That's just for April. The Minister of Health basically indicate that they are in plan C at this point and where they need more beds. I believe that the healthcare system is very close to being overburdened. I fear that the numbers continue to rise coming out from our Easter vacation and free up moment. Our country at this point has rollbacks, and the people actually, the last lap sort of mentality, in essence, what they're creating is super spreaders points. We really would like COVID to be something of the past for us to correct it. And the only way we could correct it is isolation, proper protocols in terms of people need to be responsible for wearing on their masks, and vaccinations. The government is on record saying that it is in the making. They have different hiccups in getting it. There are entities from the private sector saying that, hey, we do have access. So maybe we ought to have a better conversation with the private entities once they meet the World Health Organization's criteria and the Ministry of Health, and we need to get this vaccination, because God forbid we continue. We have a lockdown now. It runs for 3 months, which is my fear. So this is why we have called for maybe just 3 weeks, and basically a quarantine for those 3 weeks, the whole country, so that when consumer confidence come out, because the numbers fall so little bit, that our businesses could now survive. Because what we have found in recent times, in the month of April, is that you're not even making your salary for the 1 or 2 persons that you employ. So you continue to dig a bigger hole every day, and we certainly cannot afford it. Question is do you prefer to run the risk of having this for 8 to 9 months in the future? Or do you prefer a quick fix, ban with body now, and have some corrective measures? And that's really where we are. It's certainly frightening, it's cause for concern, but all hands need to be on deck on this. We can't be just saying everything that the government do is wrong, and you don't offer any sort of solution, suggestions, or how you make something better. And it seems as though that is basic society today. If you support one, well, you are politically aligned. If you don't support it, well, you're oppositionally aligned. And unfortunately, Trinidad and Tobago need to be Trinidad and Tobago aligned. At least in a crisis that we have found ourselves in, we need to put Trinidad and Tobago first. If we to even consider having a conversation about next year, next carnival, Christmas this year, or 5 years from now in terms of our governing bodies.
And that's an excellent note, a reminder that we need a conversation. Tell me, when you think of Trinidad, let's say 5 years from now, assuming that we will manage COVID, when you think of Trinidad 5 years from now, what would you like to see?
More patriotism, to be quite honest. We have leaders, and sometimes, in most cases, their thinking might just be in and around themselves, rather than how is this going to affect me in 5 years or 10 years. I sit in a position, Denise, right now that I am in because I have young children. For those who know me, I've never been a public person. Always shy. If you come to, I've never been this upfront in any sort of media forum. But when I think about my grandchildren, when I hear stories from my parents in terms of what they did as a child and how that shaped to my childhood, that I could have just ride my bicycle maybe in just a particular area of my where I live, right? And my children cannot even ride a bicycle out on the road where I live. So what do we do? What do we do for our children is of a great concern to us. Where do we see ourselves in 5 years? Based on me being a business person, it is scary to think where the trajectory where we're going. But I certainly like to think that one day we live in this fairy tale, that we love each other. We could not depend on government because government spending and our taxation is really the same. We could say, hey, I am a proud Trinidad and Tobago citizen. We could all be ambassadors so that we could speak well of our country and not be always saying something negative. Because when we travel, people adore us.
Yeah.
Tourism, everybody wants to come to Trinidad despite even all the negative criticisms that we have, because we do have things that nowhere else in the world have. Pitch Lake, our own is a right bird sanctuary. People from all over the world come to see particular type of birds. So I would like to see that everybody want to come to Trinidad, everybody want to become a Trinidadian. But our governing, our leaders are somewhat a bit far. And I think that the younger persons like yourself, Denise, need to step up and hold that mantle and walk with that torch and let us go. Let us have one common goal for the betterment of country. It's not always the pretty thing to do, I must say. You're going to have a lot of negative criticism, as I've learned in the past couple of days, but we need to look at the future. We need to look outside of our own selves and what is the betterment for all.
You talked about patriotism, you've talked about having better conversations, and you've talked about looking outside of ourselves to ensure that we do what is in the best interest of our country. What is the evidence you would be looking for to make you believe that we've changed or we are on a road to changing the way we do business now?
Well, let's look far-fetched. We could open our business and think that nobody will come and shoplift, nobody will come and rob us. Very far-fetched at this point. Simple things. Somebody could say, hey, morning, sir. Do you know, as a walking on the street, standing on the street, if a child in primary school uniform pass you and tell you morning, sir, morning, ma'am, you'll be very confused at this point.
Yeah, yeah. So you're talking about going back to some of the basic values.
Absolutely, we have to go back to the drawing board. When we could pass and see that there is no rubbish on our streets because nobody's littering. When we could see people being respectful despite we disagree, because we certainly lacking that at this point. There's nothing wrong in disagreeing, but be respectful in when you disagree. You know, so we coming back to our parents or grandparents in terms of their upbringing, in terms of the humbleness, in terms of how they see themselves in the home.
I have said on this program before that there seems to be an implementation deficit because you've just identified a simple thing as littering, but that continues. What do we need to do to change that behavior and make sure people obey the rules and carry out those thoughts and those behaviors?
You're asking me some psychological questions that I don't have. I will tell you what I've seen work though. It's unfortunate to say that the only thing to get any sort of enforcement in Trinidad and Tobago is a continuous, and the word continuous is important, big stick approach. Now, when one look at the implementation of the no cell phone while driving, but 1 month, 2 months, everybody getting tickets. Now look at it now. When you look at the speed radar guns, for most of the population conforms to the regulation, right? People still speeding. We have a mass thing for COVID. COVID is killing everybody, our loved ones. But yet, we have a chin mask and not a nose mask. So, the big stick approach, and if we do it right, if we do it for the 90 days, a hard approach, we tend to get that sort of change because it becomes part of us. It becomes our nature.
Okay, so you're saying that we have to have continuous implementation and that we have to have the big stick approach before we can change. As we bring this interview just to a close, what are your parting views? What are the comments you wish to share with our listeners, our viewers?
To viewers, let's love Trinidad and Tobago, love our neighbors, understand that we are different, and don't hate for being different, but appreciate it. Understand, respect, think of the what is going on now and what do you want to see for your children and your grandchildren, rather than only think about what is for now, because now would only last for just a moment in time, and life is very short. We can do this. All hands need to be on there, and we can definitely make Trinidad and Tobago a better, a place that we are proud to live on, that we could feel comfortable, we could feel secured, and work to achieve the greatness that it can be to its fullest.
Thank you very much, Reval Chattergoon, President of the Arima Business Association. On that note, Reval talks about going back to some of the traditional values. He talks about patriotism. He talks about having a conversation. Those are the things we need to do to make Trinidad and Tobago better. Deming Chronicles, thank you for being with us. We'll be back with you shortly. Deming Chronicles Season 2. Welcome back. And on this segment of the program, we welcome Errol, the independent Fabien. Lovely to have you, Errol. And I want to start by asking you, how has COVID treated you?
Thanks for having me, Denise. It's good to be here. COVID has treated me in different ways. Initially, I want to talk about work. I would, I think, I reckon, have approximately 3 bookings as an entertainer weekly. Whether it's charity or whatever it is, whether locally, regionally, or internationally. Since the lockdown, I've had all of about 6 bookings in all as an entertainer. So that is that real negative impact on me with respect to my revenue and my ability to earn. But COVID has also been quite an opportunity for me because during this time I've started developing other skills and creating other opportunities to earn. And I think reasonably successfully so in terms of the revenue, but quite successfully so in terms of skill development and looking at my environment and my community in a new way. So COVID has had both licks and love for me since it happened a year ago.
Licks and love is how you describe COVID. Tell me about the love and tell me about the new opportunities and the new skills that you have been able to embrace.
Well, I'm sitting in what was a living room in my home. It is now the Tony Hall TV studio. It's Gayelle's main studio. This space was developed since the lockdown, the initial lockdown last year. Gayelle was not doing live programming before the lockdown for maybe more than a year. Since the lockdown, we've been doing live programming every single night. We've developed quite an audience internationally for the content, and regionally and locally also. We have new presenters. I'm training new people. And I'm counting that as love. I've also started to get a small revenue from this space. It has created a lot of opportunity for artists who've come in to do their lives and get the contribution through the contribution platforms like FundMe, TNT, and so that is the area that I'm describing as love. And yeah, this space is really turning out to be something very special in my life and in the lives of the people who use it.
That's brilliant, Errol. And tell me, what is your advice for creatives like you who have been affected? You've talked about moving from 3 gigs a week to 6 over the last year and a half. What is your advice for creatives who are experiencing that kind of licks?
I have to say, because I was in that space too, on my comedy side, waiting for the lockdown to change, to go back out there and jump back on a plane and go back to work and stand up in front of an audience of 2,000 or 3,000 people. I've come to terms with the fact, I think, that that is a future that is not nearby, if it's going to happen at all. So I have been trying to find new ways with respect to getting my comedy out there, but comedy is very difficult because we need a live audience. It's not a song, it's not any other kind of, it's not a musician. I need to hear people laugh to know that what I'm saying is working and is connecting. So I've been writing some stuff that will not depend on a live audience, like a mini series that I'm starting to shoot soon. I'm also looking at not limiting myself to comedy as an entertainer. I don't know what to say to other creatives because I know there are people out there who are creatives, but they jump in the garden and they start planting. I know creatives out there who are now driving and doing deliveries. I know creatives out there who are doing other services and doing other things that they have skill sets in to earn it. And I would say to them, pursue these things as much as possible, and let's also try to get together to look at the way forward with respect to our creative endeavors.
What does Trinidad need to do to ensure that our creatives thrive? What is the kind of infrastructure? What's the kind of culture? What is the enabling? What are those enabling factors that we need for creatives to thrive?
First and foremost, the sector has to be seen as an industry. The creative sector in Trinidad and Tobago, in my view, has never been seen as an industry. It has never been given respect. It has never been capitalized. There has never been a real investment, private or public sector, in the creative sector in Trinidad and Tobago, the creative industry, I should say, because this is an industry that generates hundreds of millions of dollars, not just TT dollars, but it has never been given that respect and that place. So it is why people online expect to get everything for free from creatives. When it's to pay for it, no. There's no part of that because we've never been treated as such. The respect has never been there. And so I think there's even need for some sort of legislation, some sort of understanding and positioning of the sector by the legislature that recognizes, okay, this is something like we have energy or like we have whatever it is. Get the forum going, get the fora going, bring it to the public, help the public understand and show it to the public. Show how the industry supports the national economy and show how the industry needs support from the general public.
Errol, I just want to switch the conversation from the creatives to our future as a country. If you could dream 5 to 10 years into the future, what would be the single change you would like to see happen in our country? I'm
We are
asking.
together. History has shown us we've always come out on top. I think we should legislate and put an end to violence in our parliament, especially in the kind of discourse they have there. I think they should be made to speak respectfully to each other. I think they should be made to not have the badge on talk, because this we all looking on, and the behavior trickles down because these are the leaders. I think it should be legislated throughout in some kind of a way. I don't understand what it is, but I knew we need to come together as one. I know we need to start living in love in this country. When election finish, the campaigning needs to end. The campaigning seems never ending, you know, and I think Reval was talking a bit about that just now. But I think I don't think we need the big stick approach. I think we need the hug up approach. I think instead of hiding with the radar gun, I think police should be visible and start affecting behavior. Behavior is not impossible to change. It takes a long time to change, but it's not impossible to change. I think a regular police presence on our highways would see a new behavior on the roads. I think it might take a generation or two, but we need to get there. I think police come into your home if there is domestic violence, and not just working with the victim, but working with the hurt person who's hurting the other one. And it could be either one. Might be the husband is the victim, might be the wife is the victim. We pass women beating men on the street and laugh and carry on. But we don't do that when a man is beating a woman. And I'm not saying that we should pass that. I'm saying we need to be equally responsive when a man is in problems as well as when a woman is in problem. I think we need to look at our penal system. You know, I know you asked for one thing, but all of this under love, I think. I think we need to look at our penal system. People in our jails who dare waiting on the case for a longer time than if they had pled guilty. I think we need to look at that. I know we need to find how to make the big love up happen in our country. You know, like when we qualify in Bahrain to go to World Cup, how the love up happened and the whole country has been won, you know, and entertainers and sport keep doing that and bringing us together, like in Carnival and things, where it's have a big love up. I think there's a way to find that path throughout our calendar year and into our future. You know, I think like under the lockdown, the love up should be happening. I find 1,000 people should get contracts to make the little grow box and they're available wherever, instead of one person making 10,000 grow boxes, you know what I mean? And those boxes are there and we are encouraged to grow something at home under the lockdown. I think we should be encouraged to take care of our immune system, our health, because that is our war against this virus, being healthy. Look, our Prime Minister got ill at his age and with his underlying condition, and he's up and going again. Corona is not a death sentence, but there's a fear being driven into us instead of being driven into us that we can take care of ourselves. And if we contract COVID, we can live beyond it. You know, that is the love up I'm talking about, that caring thing. I fell victim to a financial situation with a financial house, and I think there's thousands of other people that it is happening to. They've lost their job, they can't pay their mortgage, or they can't pay their car loan, or whatever it is, and they're in problems with the banks and with the financial institutions. But where's the love up? These banks have made hundreds of millions of dollars off these same people. Can each bank in Trinidad and Tobago say, okay, for 2020, I'm giving up 50 million worth of profit, and go to their loan officers and the compliance officers and ask for the people who need this help and write off for 10,000 there, 20,000 there, whatever it is, and give these people freedom? You know, that's the love up I'm talking about. We need to start caring for each other as a nation.
I want you to go back to the comment you made about Parliament. How could that love up happen in Parliament when the way the system is designed, it seems to be designed for confrontation? And if the love up is going to trickle down, how do we get it?
It is designed for confrontation, but we accepted and helped create that design. The same people who sit there and the people who sat there before. And therefore, we can change it. It's not written in stone. That system we have, it's not God who gave us that system. It's not unchangeable. We gave that system to ourselves. So we can change it. We could sit in a circle instead of facing each other. You understand? A simple thing like that can change the way we interact with each other. We could talk about the language and legislate some words never to be used inside there. Legislate a tone. You know, it will take a while. It will seem ridiculous at first, but you know, in 3 parliaments from now, it will become the norm. Just like when we say the mad cola, we ain't paying no cola. And I know how they can bring cola, and the opposition said no to cola. We still paying cola, and it has become the norm. We need to do things, bite the bullet, take the bitter pill, but do things unpopular as they are to create the love-ups. We have to.
And on that note, Errol, what is your parting words for our viewers?
That I really do love you all, and that there is opportunity in COVID. There's opportunity in our migrant situation. There are opportunities abound around us. But if we keep looking back to try and find the petrodollar, we're going to end up in real problems. I think it's time for us to stop importing half of the things we import. I think we need to start looking at getting rid of the TT dollar. I think we should join the EC, even welcome being a part of the Eastern Caribbean. We need some togetherness. We need to be coming together with institutions and with people who can make us stronger and who we can make stronger. And those are my parting words. And it mustn't happen only at a national level. It must happen on a home level, a community level. That's where we need to get it going, to drive it up to those big boys who can't seem to see.
Deming Chronicles, Errol the Independent Fabien, one of our guests, and his theme is just love up. We need to respect and love up each other. Deming Chronicles this week, we chatted with Reval Chattergoon, president of the Arima Business Association, and he chatted with us about patriotism, the difficulties that COVID has brought to us. We also have had Errol. Thank you very much. Deming Chronicles Season 2. Until next time, like and follow us. Be safe.